Hello and welcome back to Digging with Dallas. That's right, that's me. But come on, we all know that by now. And if not, please consider subscribing to the channel because it does mean a lot to me. So jobs for today is pond maintenance. I'm going to get my pond ready for the winter. I'm going to clean all my big filters out. I'm going to cut the flowers down inside the pond. But first of all, I want to show you something. I think it's mega impressive. Some of you will look at it and may go, story behind it. Always a story behind these things. So you probably hear my next door neighbour in some of my vlogs. You'll hear a power saw going, a chop saw. That's his favourite tool that he tends to use. He's registered as blind. Yeah, you heard that correct. He's registered as blind and he uses a chop saw. Not like a little measly one. I'm talking like a big, thing. Yeah. He's made me a bird box. Look at this. Here we go. I mean, he's failed there because it needs a bit of a hole putting on the back to hang it in something, but I'll sort that out. It's the least I can do. But hey, look at that nice little blue tip box. He's measured the hole, he got the diameter correct on that. So yeah, like I say, let that just sink in. A blind man has built that. How impressive is that? I mean, if that's not worth liking, sharing on this video, I don't know what is. Come on, he's blind. Anyway, enough of that. We'll get that hung up ready for next year. So pond maintenance today, I am going to cut some of my water mint back, which is this one down here. I've got reeds, I've got lilies, I've got calla lilies, I've got my main lilies which are down there in the main pond. I need to cut them back. I've got my main filters, which they are rotten. And a lot of time I'll look at this and you'll see the water coming in and through it. Let me just spin the camera around. There we go. So the water doesn't really appear to be moving, but it is. That's all on at the moment. So I'm going to drain all three of these down. So when I do that, the actual water in the pond will drop massively. And I'll show you how I'm actually going to overcome that. Because yesterday here in Lincoln, we had a day of rain. So I've saved some rainwater in some of my water butts. So I'm going to drop that rainwater back into here. But I'll show you how I do that when I get there. So join me in a minute and I'll be emptying these out. Let's go right now. So just a quick one, I'm going to turn my pump off, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to undo this Jubilee clip here, which is going to let the water from here run straight out of here. If I don't do that, the water will run back through the UV filter and then it will go back into my pond, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to move pretty quick, turn the pump off, jump over the fence and get that done. That is the first job. So I'm going to loosen that off first now, then I'm going to go do the pump. Otherwise water will start running back, but for the little bit that will come out, I'm not overly fussed about that. So let me get that bit done right now. Like I say, that would be going back into my pond. So yeah, it looks pretty clean coming out there, but when it gets right down to the bottom here, it's not going to be. You're going to see how much the water is going to drop on this now. If we take a rough gauge on this, so if we look at the bottom, we can crank it runs across. The water's quarter of the way up it, somewhere around there, about halfway we'll go before we'll be fair. And we'll see what that's like when I've actually had to refill them up. So that's these now empty, as you can see. Lots of dirt needs to come out in that one. Let me look down there. Nasty. So I'm going to clean all that out now. I've got the trusty hose pipe ready to rock and roll, so I'm going to squirt all these out, get them clean, and then we'll start filling them back up, and I'll show you how I'm actually going to go about filling them up. Bear with me for 5 minutes while I clean that out. Say 5 minutes, just take a bit longer because it stinks. Let's go. So that's the filter cleaned. What I've also just done, I've just dropped a pond bomb right in the very end one. It's difficult to get to, so I'm not going to get it back out, but that's just to add a bit more bacteria back in there. So that's now connected. The inside of here, it's a lot better because there's just sludge on there before, so I can put all my media all back in these now. The whole works. So this here is just going to catch everything before it starts coming through from this one into the lava rock, last one back down into the pond. So I've closed everything all off now. So what I can go and do is slip in there. I can go around, turn my pump back on, everything will start coming through. While that's coming through, that water is going to drop quite a lot. When you think that's 17 foot, 9 foot wide, so that does drop quite quickly when we get going on this next bit. So I'm going to do that. While I'm doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put some shorts on, because yeah, even though it's November, I'm going in. Yeah, it's cold, but don't worry, I do cold water therapy, so I actually quite enjoy doing this. So yeah, the cold in there is not actually going to bother me that much. So I'm going to turn it on and then I'll show you my little trick with what I've done to save my water. So here we go. Just like that, water is now beginning to push back through the filter system. I did say the water was going to drop. Did you think it's going to drop by that much? I mean, half of that was underwater. We've got a couple of buckets in there through now. Brilliant. Nice clear water coming back into the pond, just what we wanted. So I now need to top that up. Fish are quite active today. I think it's because I've been working in it. So what I've actually got set up here, look at that, just seeing this down there. I've got a frog down it. That's all good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you my setup I've got with my yellow pipe here, and you'll see more of what I'm actually going to do with that right now. So what I've got going on here, I've got my old yellow hose pipe. If we follow it back up to the house, I've got it on a massive water pot. So if I turn this on here now, that's going to leak a tad around that there, and flatten this out as we go. Hopefully without being at full, we'll have water coming out this end here, which look at that, fellas, beautiful. So that now is topping up my pond with rainwater, so I'm not actually going to have to add any dechlorinator into it because it's just rainwater. I've tidied up far in there, giving everything a real good cut back, as well as the lilies. I did get in the water, it's cold, but hey, I did quite enjoy it. As for feeding the fish at the moment, they're getting fed every now and again, and it really is every now and again. They've proper slowed down, especially the big ones. They've kind of now started to hunker down for winter. But what I'm also going to do while I'm stood here is, like magic, another water butt. It's full of water. You could almost say this water butt has been put here for this exact purpose. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this one up going. Let's just come off its stand. So I'm going to set that one up going, and as you can see, that there will drop back down into the pond. So what I'm going to finish this off, I'm just going to scoop all the top off again, just to make sure there's no debris left in there. So while I'm doing that, please remember to like, subscribe, definitely share it, come on, because that bird box, it's something special. If I blindfolded you, could you make it? Could you use a chop saw without your sight? Scary thought, isn't it? But he genuinely does do that, and he's a smashing fella, really is. So until the next vlog, keep on doing what you can in the garden. It's definitely slowed down now, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now, folks.